Wonderful. All right then. And so we'll begin again. Absolutely so. A wondrous meditation that you can repeat from time to time, to access new possibilities that have never been. For the imaginal realm is where they reside, and you can call them to you. You can activate your chakras in new ways so that you can perceive these new possibilities. That is the work that was done in the meditation. And so we do encourage you from time to time to return, to review the meditation, to reignite your own imagination. And so we have time for questions. And who would like to begin? Please unmute yourself.
Tara, it's Francis. Hi.
Yes, dear one.
Well, it was a gorgeous and stunning meditation. Thank you so much for that. It was really nice. It's adding to my optimism. I don't know why I feel optimistic and feel good about the future, but I did. I guess my work with Kathy, my work with you, my work with, my unseen are all starting to pull together to make things happen. I'd like to maybe get a very quick explanation of why I'm feeling optimistic and feeling happy.
Well, you did just imbue your chakras with joy. Certainly so. And if you were feeling it even before the meditation, you have been doing the work, haven't you? You have been releasing that which no longer serves you. You have, as you said earlier today to Katharina, you said you have been cutting cords, meaning you are releasing from your energy field that which no longer serves.
Yes, yes.
Changing agreements is important. Agreements are often in the form of beliefs. What you believe about reality in any given moment is an agreement that this is the way things are. And when you get uncomfortable with the way things are, it means it's time to change the agreement, isn't it? And being a conscious reality creator, as you are, from time to time, you have to look at, well, what am I bumping up against? Why am I feeling constrained at this time? What did I put in place on some level, conscious or otherwise, that is now no longer serving me, that has limitations that keep me from being more and more of who I truly am? Does that help you see better?
Yes. I think that the cord cutting that I discussed with Katharina today, which obviously you heard because you hear everything. I do think that listening to that as I go to sleep has been very helpful. Of course, working with you and working with Kathy have been, miraculous, and I do feel a lot better. And on my business situation, I do feel very comfortable and confident with my lawyer. That's
very good.
Part of my world right now.
Wonderful. And we do sense the change in you, the shift from the chaos that you were in to a more peaceful place.
Yes. And optimistic.
Yes. And allow that optimism to help you access those new possibilities, for they are real and they will be emerging. They are in alignment with your optimal future self, with your true self. And one indication of when you are on track is you feel more loved. You feel more love for yourself. And you feel more loving towards others. it is an emotional key for you and for many of you. It allows you to know that you are on track. So for you, dear one, your heart chakra is your guide. Wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, and so who is next?
Tara, I have a question.
Yes, dear one.
Thank you so much. That was such a beautiful meditation. Oh my gosh, thank you. Very exciting. John and I were talking earlier about things, and so I have a question that I'd like to ask you, and that is it a possibility? Is it a probability? Can we heal the esophageal problem that John has with shamanic energy medicine?
Certainly there is a lot of work that can be done towards healing. For the issue really is a disconnect between the muscle and the brain, isn't it? And so what would a disconnect represent? As you consider, why does someone choose to separate themselves from something? And that separation and longing for connection is pain, isn't it?
Yes.
And John has been working through levels of old stuff, we'll just call it. And his favorite place to hide things is in his body. And it's no surprise. He has known about this for a while. While he's busy using the mental plane or the metaphysics as his playground, his physical body holds information for him to look at later. And so part of this process for John is to learn how to evaluate and sift through information without needing to store it. And as he has learned over the last little while, the last few years with Katharina and himself, learning the Yun method, for instance, and the frequency within which the Yun method rarely points to the physical, often points to energetic plane items rather than even emotional isn't always the key. Many say, oh, you're storing emotions. You're choosing to hide your emotions in your body, and that's why you're manifesting this. Well, for some, that is true. And long ago, that was true even for John. But these latest years, he has more absorbed from his environment outside influences, wanting to make the difference. That is the real issue, isn't it? Why am I not making the difference that I want to make? There is pain there. There is a healing required, a level of forgiveness, letting yourself off the hook. We're speaking to John, of course. That hasn't been accomplished yet. He holds himself to the highest standard. And you've seen this with other people where they just won't let themselves have the credit that is due, or they just won't let themselves off the hook if something hasn't gone perfectly. So they disregard all the good that has happened in the name of perfection. And so much of this pain that John has are those moments when he judged himself and came out lacking. Now he thought himself lacking. That is not the opinion of his higher self. That is not the opinion of God and Goddess, or true self, or soul. But as you are at this furthest point of individuation, that process of discernment, of distinction, of deciding, of judging, was an important part of becoming an individual, of separating from, of becoming more conscious of yourself as an individual. And so now, as you are rounding the bend, as you're coming home to God and Goddess, it's time to look at some of those mechanisms and say, oh, okay, that made sense back then when I was my lesser self, when I was less conscious. But now I've moved into me the more. I now am becoming my true self, aligned with my soul, aligned with my purpose of bringing the light and the love of God and Goddess into the world. And so here I am using old tools. How do I release myself from them? How do I not pick them up as an automatic? Because that's what happens with judgment, isn't it? Oh, I'll just shut my emotions down for a moment. I'll look at them later. But then life happens so quickly and time seems to be speeding up, even though it's an illusion. You are perceiving it as speeding up. How ironic. When actually the reality is there's more time than you will ever need to get everything done, because there actually is no time. And so it's the same with these judgments and with this method of cutting yourself off. So the method of, I have too much sensation happening from my world, so I cut myself off so that I detach, so that I can reflect, so that I can get alone for a little bit. Well, that was necessary back then, but it's not necessary anymore. You have new tools. You have a wonderful way of being that where you want to help and you do help. And you also have this distinction called I'm an individual. I am separate from, and I can have impact from that place more powerfully so if I hold that I'm an individual and I have help. And so the healing comes from asking for help while remaining an individual. Well, how do you do that? That is the question. And it has to do with, as you become aware of, oh, this is a circumstance where in the past I would have attempted to fix it, change it, control it, make it go away, or become righteous or judgmental in an effort to change someone's opinion about something. This is an opportunity now to hold the space of, oh, maybe there are others who are more than me, who can infuse the situation with more love and more light, and therefore bring about solutions, creative solutions that have never been. And that is the dance, isn't it? And so how does this relate to your esophagus? Well, your body is telling you, if you take all the responsibility and never share, never allow others to help with the assimilation of the new information, you get too full It's too much for you to handle. And so you just throw it back up and try it again. So for you, John, the key truly is to ask for help with assimilating, to ask someone more than you, as you have been doing. We are not saying you never do it. We are just saying this is an old pattern that is a survival mechanism. I have to do it all myself. I have to do it all by myself. I have to hold it all. I can't ask for help, or I have failed. And so as you hear these words, just let yourself release it. It is not you the more that has these thoughts. It's not the current you. It is the past. And that past self is wanting to be freed, wanting to be let off the hook. But can't if there isn't a solution. And the solution we are giving you is, well, you have us in your reality. You have Lazarus. You have your shining one and your ancient ones. You have many who are helping you through this. Felix, is there anything you want to say? All right, wonderful. And so we'll continue. And so, John, the key for you is asking for help in new ways, because it's not just help me. You've been saying that, haven't you? But there is an alignment with, if I ask for help, am I a failure? And so it's that emotion that has to be purged. It's that new understanding that no, you are not a failure. There are circumstances when you have failed. Absolutely so. All of you have failed at times. But does that make you a failure? See, that is the shame, isn't it? And with shame comes pain, where you break off a piece of soul, and that piece awaits your recalling it, retrieving it when the time is right. And so we do recommend that you have a session with Kathy about this, very specifically around the judgments from your lesser self, not from you the more, not who you currently are, but there are the patterns were carried on for so long that your body has become a representation of it. And so what happens when you heal it? What happens when you heal the energy behind it? Well, then the cells get the permission to move forward, don't they? See, up until now, they've had to maintain this state. They haven't had permission to heal. But as you allow yourself, give your higher self permission to lift the shame, then the cells can do the work. All right, and what is next?
Thank you, Tara.
Certainly so. We love you so. And thank you for bringing that up.
Tara, can I mention something?
Certainly.
John, there are so many map makers behind you. So many. Sending love and energy and healing for tomorrow.
The amount of love and light that is available, he's quite aware of it, and he welcomes it. Absolutely. The support is a healing in itself, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is.
Knowing he is not alone.
Far from it.
And John is a very private person, so he
Yeah.
doesn't like to ask.
Yeah,
But some of that need for privacy is tied to that being afraid to fail. The need to do it perfectly, all of that, it's all tied together. And so even as we've been speaking this evening, we've been healing between the words, we've been healing each and every one of you of that reluctance to show your true self. Because there is that fear, there is that worry that you will make a false start. And certainly so, that fear is based in the wounding, is based in that time of eternal youth that fell short, where your soul came and you had your wounding, you had to have your wounding, you realize that now, but you don't like it anyway. Because, well, why couldn't I keep soaring and go on forever? But you see, it is time to soar now. It is time to gather the energies and be more of who you truly are, that you got a glimpse of in your eternal youth, but you weren't ready for it. During the time of adolescence, you are all about belonging, looking to your peers for approval. It wasn't from a place of empowerment. Many of you long for that time of eternal youth. And there are clues in it that are your true self, getting a glimpse of who you truly are, that essence of you, tied to soul, tied to God and Goddess. And so it is important to work with your adolescent, to allow them to know that it's okay that they had a wounding, that they aren't a failure. And so there is that worry, that it is that fear. If I let myself soar now, am I going to get my wings clipped? And we tell you, you are different. You are not the adolescent. You are the spiritual adult. And so when you soar, you will soar with purpose, aligned with your optimal future self, aligned with true self, aligned with soul and God and Goddess. You have all the support that you need. And so we'll go for now. Certainly so we go. To each and every one of you, we go with love and peace. As we bring Katharina back, we go with love and peace. Until next time.